Okay, when I was a kid, I was convinced that I was going to be like married by the time I was 22, get a house by the time I was 25, have my first kid at 28, graduate college, spring by spring, find a husband. No, here I am, 24. I am single. I travel the country for my job, and I love my job. But do I want a husband? Do I want children? Yes. But that old expectation that 16-year-old me had has now faced the reality of the world, and I would like to be married by the time I'm 28. So I've got 4 years to find a suitor. I would like my first kid by the time I'm 30. I would like to buy a house also when I get married. I plan to buy a house in like the next 4 to 5 years if saving and everything goes according to plan with the current living situation. But did anyone else, I feel like us girls just lived in delusion when we were in like high school and middle school and convinced ourselves like 21 felt so old, and now I'm like, that was years ago.
As a professional matchmaker, I see so many great women get declined by men for really silly reasons. So men, what are the main reasons why you would decline meeting a woman? Post your reasons in the comments attached, and I want to see if my theories are correct behind this.
Men are now at a point to where they're walking away and they don't mind being alone. Y'all have messed it up. Women, a lot of us have messed it up. And like I said, even surprisingly to me, like I was noticing and seeing so many men, like I desire family. I desire commitment. I desire marriage. I desire to have a woman. I want to provide for a woman, take care of a family. Like men have been wanting that. But now you're starting to see more and more men become more and more comfortable with the idea of not having any of that, because men are valuing and desiring their peace over everything else.
We should become genuinely about the entire sexual history banter and its effect on connections. Even though some people argue that a person's worth shouldn't be determined by their past, shared values and compatibility do matter. The possibility that men favor ladies with a low or zero body count isn't simply some irregular assessment. It's an inclination that many hold, regardless of whether letting it out is not pleasant. The deal is this: communication and trust are the foundations of any healthy relationship. That alone is a red flag if someone feels the need to lie or conceal their past. What else are you concealing if you are unable to disclose where you have been? Transparency, not half-truths or omissions for convenience, should be the foundation of relationships.
How much of a body count are we talking here when we're talking? Like, can you tell us like the top 3 you've heard from some girls?
The highest I've ever heard from a girl, it was like 340 something.
What? 340 something?
That's
The highest I've ever heard is like 100, and I thought that was
Where
the craziest
are you hearing
number.
that from? I've heard way higher too.
Then what?
Then like 340. I've heard like, I'm just saying 100's the highest you've heard.
Yeah. And I thought that was crazy.
It was around 340. I think it was like 346 if I remember exactly.
What about some other high numbers? Any
Unless
like
it's
100
small.
plus?
Yeah, there's a few of those for
A couple,
sure. Yeah.
a few 100 plus.
Aren't you gonna open the door for me?
Yeah, I was literally just about to.
As you should.
Shut that door. Shut that door.
I think I left something on the seat. 1 second. I just gotta move it for you. I don't want you to sit on it.
Okay.
Please drive off. Please drive off. Please drive off.
What age did you wake up and realize that you no longer wanted to be a strong?
She pretty much talks about like coming to the realization that she no longer wants to be a strong, independent Black woman. I will have to say that it's just now hitting me. I just turned 33, and I will say, I think it's this year that it's really hit me that I do not want the title of a strong, independent Black woman, okay?
But let's change the subject for a moment. False accusations against men are not a laughing matter. We've all heard the horror stories about guys whose lives were turned upside down by false claims. Their standing, ruined. Their future, wrecked. That is the means by which honest lives get annihilated. It is past due that we demand fairness and due process for all parties. To make a point, it frequently entails throwing men under the bus. Conversations that don't portray all women as saints or all men as predators are necessary. It's about time we found a middle ground that safeguards everyone's rights, rather than just those of the loudest voices in the room.
The app does not care how many relationships, how many marriages they create. The app cares how much money they bring in short-term and long-term. Auto swiping right. It doesn't work with most algorithms. Reason being that if you are automatically swiping right, there are two things happening. Number one, the app is rating you based on how selective or unselective you are, and it's correlating unselective to unattractive in many cases. So you're going to be seen by the app as less attractive. Also, if you are willing to swipe right on mediocre girls, the app has no incentive to show you attractive girls. So the auto swipe right strategy, which did actually kind of work in the very early days of online dating, absolutely does not work in most apps now. And that's something you need to understand because the algorithm will be against you if you employ such a strategy.
False claims are serious business and must be taken seriously. Yet, so does the experience of certified survivors. Everything without question revolves around making a fair framework where equity isn't simply a trendy expression, yet a reality. To fix this, we owe it to everyone. For men focused on long-haul connections, jumping into various social settings can eye-open. The norms and values of Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East can teach us a lot. These regions frequently have more conventional views of family life, which may provide the kind of dynamics in relationships that some men believe are lacking in the West. But let's not sugarcoat it. It's as shallow as it gets to believe that a woman's worth is solely determined by her body count.
Put your head on my shoulder, hold me in your arms, baby.
Both hands on the back when I tap it, grab it and slap it, Becky a savage. Let me show you a magic trick you can have.
Individuals are perplexing, and diminishing somebody's worth to simply a number overlooks the main issue completely. While some studies do point to a connection between promiscuity and difficulties in forming long-term relationships, that is not the entire story. Connections are about a lot more. Correspondence, trust, and common regard truly make them work. Now, what is the recommendation to become financially secure and travel? Right on target.
We can all agree that modern dating just sucks, right? Gen Z is so hooked on dating apps, yet refuses to actually go on a date, and it's all just a game to everyone. We all know it. Oh, and not to mention the dating expectations and hookup culture. So statistically speaking, Gen Z is the most incapable generation of even forming bonds with a partner because of previous hookups. Oh, and men are too scared to ask women out the right way because they don't want to seem too into the girl, but then girls are so into their boss babe, corporate girly eras to even go on a date. It's exhausting, honestly. And the reason why so many people in our generation are single and depressed is because you're trying to find a purpose in the worldly things around you, which I promise will leave you nothing but disappointed. Gen Z, I'm telling you guys, it's time to wake up and stop listening to the lies of the world around you.
It's important to expand your horizons. Yet, we should be genuine. In the event that you're simply bouncing societies to see as a superior lady in view of some obsolete agenda, you're not exactly understanding what is most important to connections. Don't just make a list of things to buy. Approach these new experiences with an open mind. The fact of the matter is that a person's past is only one part of a healthy relationship. People change over time, and what they used to be doesn't always reflect who they are now. Certainly, knowing someone's past is part of getting to know them, but it's not the only thing. You are missing the bigger picture if you are focused solely on notch counts. All in all, this point of view difficulties the women's activist story by featuring the irregularities and twofold principles inborn in the development. Although feminism makes the claim that it promotes equality, it is evident that the agenda frequently favors women over men when it comes to relationships, sexual history, and legal fairness. This message highlights the hypocrisy of expecting men to adhere to feminist ideals, while ignoring their very real concerns about trust, fairness, and the impact of a partner's past on the future of a relationship. And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.